Did you know that Jamaica's genetic makeup is like a fascinating African mosaic? Let's dive into the DNA of the island. Studies show that the Akan people from Ghana have left the biggest genetic footprint on modern Jamaicans. But why? It's all about the transatlantic slave trade. More Akan were brought to Jamaica than any other African group. The Igbo from Nigeria also made a significant contribution, but not quite as much as the Akan. This genetic legacy is reflected in Jamaican culture too, from language to food to music. It's a powerful reminder of the island's complex history and the resilience of African heritage. While the national motto, out of many, one people, is definitely true, it's important to remember that most of those many were in fact Akan people from the Gold Coast of West Africa. Shouldn't we all be proud of that fact?
The term Jamaica, as it refers, it wasn't the indigenous people who named it as Jamaica, but it was the Akan-speaking people, the slaves who were captured from this place to Jamaica, looking at the terms of condition that they found themselves. Then they say, wow, it seems this place that we have come to stay permanently. Perhaps we have come to stay permanently. In Akan version, we say Jama Yaka. Jama Yaka. Jama means perhaps to stay permanently Yaka. So Jama Yaka.
What if I told you Jamaicans are speaking a hidden African code every single day and most don't even realize it? The words sound English, but they are not. They're ancient, born in Ghana, whispered through generations, and still alive today in Jamaica. And here's the craziest part. Even when they tried to erase Africa from the Caribbean, the language refused to die. It just changed shape, kept its rhythm, kept its spirit.
The Akan tribe consists of very influential people. They are pretty much everywhere. Due to the Atlantic slave trade, a well-known diaspora of the Akan people exists in the Bahamas, Jamaica, Barbados, British Virgin Islands, Netherlands, Antilles, and Guyana. This is evident in the language and the culture that has been passed. Jamaican Patois is heavily influenced by the TWI language. For example, duppy and Patois is the same as doti in TWI, and it means dirty. Duppy in Patois is the same as adopi in TWI, and it means dead person. Brother Anansi is a popular folktale in Jamaica about a mischievous spider. Anansi in Twi means spider. Nyam in Patois means to eat. Nyam in Twi means the exact same thing. Uno in Patois means more than one person. Uno in Twi means the same thing. We can go on and on, but you get the point. The Akan tribe and all of its ethnic groups are a force to be reckoned with. Slave owners were hesitant to enslave many of them because they were experienced warriors. They were experienced with military methods because of the wars that ensued with neighboring tribes. The Akan people were known as a proud and disciplined group. The British thought that this meant they would make good slaves. They thought that they would do their work to the best of their ability. They were sadly mistaken. The Akan, whenever captured and enslaved, often rebelled.
Wagwan family, welcome back to the channel. If you love discovering the real stories behind Jamaican culture, go ahead and hit subscribe and like this video because this one is deep. See, Patois isn't broken English, it's the voice of survival, it's the sound of Africa that never left. At the end of the day, it doesn't need to change to be accepted. The world just needs to listen because when a Jamaican speaks, Akan is still speaking too. You see, language is more than words, it's memory, and somehow, hundreds of years, Jamaicans managed to hold onto a piece of Africa through speech, rhythm, and soul. Ancestors might have lost their freedom, but they never lost their voice.
Most Jamaicans in general come from 3 African countries, namely. It varies from person to person, but most people will either get Ghanaian, Nigerian, or Angolan/Congolese. Around half of Ghanaians that landed in Jamaica as enslaved Africans were of Akan descent. Once the British took control of the island in 1655, they imported many Atlantic African slaves, mainly from the Gold Coast and mainly Akan peoples. From 1650 to 1750, they made up the majority of the island's enslaved population. However, a certain group of them led by this woman named Nani, otherwise known as Nana in Akan, and Kujo, otherwise known as Kojo in Akan, ran away to the cockpit country where they were able to fight the British for their freedom and signed a treaty with them in 1738 granting them their independence.
Before we go further, if you're proud of that truth, drop a like right now and let's keep the love for Jamaican culture strong. Now, here's where it really gets interesting. In Akan, the word nyam means to eat, and in Jamaica, you'll hear me and nyam some food. That's not coincidence, that's connection. It's a reminder that Jamaican didn't just inherit culture, it protected it. If you're learning something right now, don't forget to subscribe because every week we uncover the real roots behind Jamaican life, culture, and pride.
Now listen, when he said Akan, I almost jumped out of my seat because let me tell you, the Akan people, we don't come to play. No. We are one of the largest and most influential ethnic groups in Ghana and across West Africa, frankly. We're made up of several subgroups: Asante, Fanti, Ekriapim, Achim, Bono, and the list goes on. And each of us carries centuries of culture, resistance, and royalty in our blood. The Asante Kingdom, for example, that was one of the most sophisticated pre-colonial empires in all of Africa. A centralized government, a strong military, a standing gold reserve, diplomacy, strategy, wealth. The golden stool, sacred, symbolic, untouchable. It represents the very soul of the Asante people. Not a person, no, not a crown, the soul. That's why in 1900, when the British had the audacity to demand the golden stool, it wasn't just seen as an insult, it was war. And it was Ya Asantua, the fearless queen mother of Ijusu, who rose up, rallied the chiefs, and led the resistance. She didn't just defend a stool, she defended a civilization. And though the British had guns and troops, it was her spirit and the spirit of the golden stool that won. A victory not just of battle, but of identity. Akan people have always understood power, but not just political power, spiritual power, communal power, symbolic power. We live by proverbs. We honor our ancestors. We believe in matrilineal inheritance. Yes, power through the mother's line. We speak Twi. We wear kente. We name our children based on the day they are born because we believe that names carry destiny. And our cultural influence, it's global. You see it everywhere. Adinkra symbols are now tattooed on skin and printed on fashion runways. Kente is worn at graduations across the diaspora, from New York to London to the Caribbean itself. But it all started here in Akan land. So when Dickin Mitchell says, I am Akan, he's not just stating an ethnic group. He's stepping into an identity that carries weight, history, and dignity. He's joining a lineage that includes kings, queens, warriors, poets, priests, resistance leaders, and now a Caribbean prime minister. And let's not forget, the Akan were among those most heavily targeted during the transatlantic slave trade. Our ancestors were captured and shipped from the shores of Elmina and Cape Coast to places like Barbados, Jamaica, and yes, Grenada. That means this moment isn't random. It's ancestral. It's a full circle moment, not just for Dickin Mitchell, but for all the descendants of Africa still searching for home.
Now, picture this. People were taken from the homeland, their names changed, their culture stripped, and yet the language survived. Not in books, not in classrooms, but in the voices of their children and grandchildren. That's the power of Patois. It's proof that no matter how far Jamaicans were taken, Africa never left them. And maybe that's why when a Jamaican speaks, you feel it. It's not just sound, it's soul, it's laughter, strength, rhythm, it's a kind energy reborn in a new world. If you're still watching, type one people, one root in the comments. Some people say history fades, but this is living history. So next time someone calls Patois broken English, just smile because you know it actually preserved Africa. This isn't about division, it's about pride. Jamaicans didn't lose the language, they evolved it. And that's something the world should respect. So big up yourself if you speak Patois because you're carrying hundreds of years of strength, survival, and spirit every time you open your mouth. If you felt this message, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe because we're keeping real Jamaican stories alive, one video at a time. One love, one people, one roots.